All right. Get ready for some G-force this week because we're talking about the epic conclusion of Formula One and the regular season of college football. Let's get into it.
It's time to get some sports sense. You're gonna get some sports sense. You better get ready for sports sense. Sports sense.
Welcome back. It's another week of season 2 of SportSense. We're on episode 16 now. So we're cooking with gas, as they say, moving through this year.
Wow.
We've already finished a whole football season. So that's kind of
Almost,
crazy.
Yeah, college. Yeah, we're regular season anyway. So yeah, it's good to be back. I can't believe how fast a week goes every time. I can't believe it's Monday night and I'm needing to be on here with you. And golly, anyway, but here we are. I'm excited.
Life is like a roll of toilet paper, right?
Don't know that one, but
Is
it
it?
just keeps
Wait,
peeling off.
You
I didn't
haven't-
teach you that
I'm
one.
teaching.
No.
I'm teaching USA.
Yes, you are.
That's
yeah. Give it to me.
How have you not heard that one? It's
haven't. Life
I
is
almost
like a
didn't
roll
say
of
it because
toilet
I thought it was so obvious and dumb.
No.
It's the older you get, like the longer it goes, the faster it goes, because the roll is
The roll's
thick at
getting-
first,
right,
and so
right.
when you start getting towards the end of the roll, it
I have missed
goes
that
faster
one,
and faster.
so look at that.
I can't
taught
believe
me
you haven't
something.
heard that. Okay, there you go.
Maybe I've been in denial and I didn't want to hear it or something.
Yeah, maybe.
'Cause
You hear what you
my-
want to hear.
Yeah, my toilet paper roll is getting real thin then, so it's flying off. It's flying off
Well,
the
yeah.
roll now.
That's what I hear is when you get older, right? The years just blow by.
Oh, they do.
So,
God, they do. Crazy.
anyways, well, yeah, another college football season, regular season come and gone.
Sure.
We got to dig into that. That's mostly what we're going to get into tonight. But I mentioned F1. So we'll get into F1 here in a minute first and then finish on college football. Of course, unless you got anything else to add, Dad, I got a little mailbag for us.
Nope, sounds good. Let's start.
Okay.
Kick it off with
All
a
right.
mailbag.
This comes from Craig, my father-in-law. So I don't know if he's given us one before. So Craig, welcome
Nice.
to the show. My friend Tanner also sent me this on Instagram this week. So you probably heard about this, Dad. Did you hear about James Franklin? Do you know where I'm going with James Franklin? Okay, I'll tell you.
Tell me.
If you don't know.
I
So
think so.
James Franklin is the Penn State coach that got fired, right?
Right.
And we talked about that a few episodes ago.
Got hired by Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess hiring day was over the weekend, and he was one of the coaches getting hired. Like you said, at Virginia Tech, that's where he got hired. Okay.
Yeah.
So at that hiring ceremony, he did something that was a jab at Penn State. It's like a whole subtle, like if you just don't know the world, deep enough, it probably went over a lot of people's heads. But what happened is, and we didn't talk last week about another key player in the story, Kalani Sitake. Or
Correct.
Sitake, however we say that, right? I'll say it the gringo way, I suppose. I had a one friend text saying, I can't believe you guys didn't talk about Kalani this week. And I told him, I was like, well, we just saw like a headline about it right before we started recording the episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry everybody for not having that properly covered for you. But basically last week, BYU was getting ready for their championship game, and bear with me on these side stories. And the whole team and fan base was super distracted with this rumor that proved to be true that Penn State was going after Kalani to be their new head coach, the place that James Franklin used to be coaching at, right? So stick with us. So all this creates a huge stir. A bunch of donors come out, and they pull enough money together to apparently keep Kalani at BYU. So that was great for BYU fans. Now,
which, by the way, the undercurrent of that I did not know was apparently, and this is frustrating to me, apparently our AD was basically not,
back, right?
Yeah, he wasn't that going overboard to try to keep Kalani. And I think some big boys, not just donors, I mean former players, former everything, came out of the woodwork and put the heat on. Not only provided money, but put some serious heat on that AD and went above the AD's head. I mean, above everybody, and just said, this is not going to happen. So I didn't know all that till later. And it was pretty much verified by a Deseret News reporter who always deals with BYU football. So a sports writer.
Okay.
And I read a whole article from him because I said, I got to, surely not, but daggone, it's kind of like the old, I can't believe he'd be this irresponsible and not reading a room, meaning the room being Cougar Nation.
Yeah, the whole internet, yeah.
Right, all of Cougar Nation fans. I mean, no one, and players, former players, all the way back. I mean, Kalani has ties to Lavelle Edwards. I mean, this is the family. This is like going against the family. And apparently, you know how sometimes you get new AD in, you want to, and Kalani's been there 10 seasons. You want to bring your own guys in, right? And he was heavily involved in getting BYU's basketball coach in, this AD, and he just became the AD just a few months ago. Anyway, so I was stunned. I just couldn't even believe. Oh yeah, he's brand new.
And AD is athletic director, right?
Yes. And I just couldn't believe that. I won't even say his name. I'm just so disappointed. How do you not understand? You're not that important.
Right.
This is something so much bigger than you are in terms of the football, right? And now basketball creeping up there. In terms of the Cougar Nation football, you're coming off two of the best years we've ever had, and you've got a groundswell that's just unbelievable all over the nation of Cougar fans, right? Wherever they live.
Yeah.
Have a broad base, and not to understand that and go to, everything to the wall, if you will, to make sure this happened. Well, it got pulled out of his hands basically, and it was made to happen. Thankfully, and it happened quickly. Thankfully.
Good. Well, yeah, and I saw. We're so sorry. I got to start on the James Franklin story. I promise we'll come back to wrap that up. But let's, while we're on the BYU tangent, let's finish that, which was, I saw the press conference where the athletic director was like, he was just talking, there was never a question. We've only had great discussions about keeping Kalani here. And of course, he said all that kind of stuff to act as if like he was behind it the whole time.
Right.
But then I started to hear some more of those stories that apparently he wasn't fighting too hard, which is a shame. Yeah, it's crazy.
He got put in his place. Let's put it that way for this moment.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if this person had a sway on that AD, but I know he was a massive financial reason that Kalani is staying, which is we're going back to the Crumble Cookie co-founder who earlier in the season was going to pay a fine for BYU for storming the field. They actually didn't fine BYU, I heard, and so he ended up donating that money to charity anyway, which was cool. Yeah. But he obviously massive donor. He's a BYU grad, I think, or MBA grad. And anyways, apparently he ponied up and really helped keep Kalani with BYU. So
he was definitely one. There's an interview by him out there. I found video interview. So he talks pretty smoothly around it, but still very blunt on a couple things. But he was heavily involved in the donor side for sure, and influential. The relationships, right? The relationships he has with the higher ups and anyway. So yeah,
I mean, if you got that kind of, if you got Crumble money, you can have whatever relationship you want. And go ahead.
Can you believe we're talking about cookie money? I mean, who'd ever would have thought? And no things against them, but they're not like my favorite.
No, it's like $5 for a pretty mediocre chocolate chip cookie. I'm not gonna lie, I don't care for them much anymore.
They figured something out though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And since we have a good friend who owns a franchise, we want to promote them in Eastern North Carolina, in the Nags Head area. Let's just say
yes. If you guys ever vacation to the Outer Banks, believe it or not, you will find a Crumble.
Yes,
yeah, run by one of our good family friends.
They are extra good down there. They're extra good at the beach. That's right.
Yeah.
They're great.
Okay, let's bring it back to James Franklin.
Yes.
So you've got the context now. The jab is that at James Franklin's hiring party ceremony thing,
press conference is what they call it. Yeah.
Okay, press conference, initiation, whatever we want to call it. They served a special treat of crumble cookies.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh my
So,
gosh.
because to him, it was like because he basically is giving the bird to Penn State, right? He's saying,
Sure.
yeah, you guys let go of me. I hope you don't get a good coach. Good. Yeah. Good for you. Stay down. So,
Yeah.
that was the subtle little jab of crumble cookies at James Franklin's press conference. So pretty cool.
That is
So
great. That's great because he's already been poaching players and coaches, so he's having fun.
yeah,
He's stripping some of the cupboards a little bit bare over there. So
man,
we'll
at,
see
at
what
Penn
happens.
State.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you,
All right.
Craig and
That's a
Tanner,
great
for
one,
sending that
Craig.
story.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I missed that
Okay.
one, so that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So, all right, let's move into a little sports speak. Term of the week also has to do with our mailbag. Here we go. Let us learn some sports speak. I was on the phone with you and Mom a few days ago, and she said CJ shot the most beautiful three in his basketball game today. And you corrected her and said he didn't shoot it,
I
he
hate that you
scored
said
it.
it that way, but
You,
he made a three.
he made it.
Yes,
So,
he made a
so basically, that's the term that I want to talk about is shot. Can you say he shot 10 goals in his game?
You can say he shot 10 times in a game. This is basketball, or it could be hockey, but basketball. Let's talk about basketball. He shot 10 times. That means shot attempts.
Yeah.
You would have to say
He tried.
He shot. He had 10 attempts and made 3, or he was 3 for 5 from 3-point land, or some version of that. But you cannot say he shot does not mean he made a basket. If all you say is he shot a 3, he shot a 3 means it's a shot attempt. It's still, you don't give enough information to let him know if you missed it or made it.
Yeah, I was planning on coming into this to play devil's advocate, but now that we're saying it out loud, I think I agree with you. But when you shoot a photo with your camera, you got the shot. Like that word works. I shot 20 photos. When you shoot a gun, I shot 10 bullets, right, at the pumpkins or whatever that's what we shoot with Macy's family every fall. So it kind of feels like in the English language, it feels like you could go into a sport and say, oh, he shot 30 buckets, right? So I just to play devil's advocate a little bit, but I see what you're saying where, you kind of have to say so-and-so made X amount of shots, right? So you can say make a shot. So you either make a shot or miss a shot, but you don't
hit 3 threes. He hit 3 threes.
Yeah.
That means he
now
made
you're just throwing new terms in the mix, but yeah.
No, when you say hit, you can say made, you say make.
Yeah.
But a shot is a shot attempt. So I say all that to say, but if your mom says it's right, then it's right, and I love her, and
you'll acquiesce.
I'll give in. But for the rest of you, that's not correct.
Yeah, text us or send us a message if you ever use shot in that way, because something about it does kind of feel right to me. So I'm not totally against it yet. But all right. But that's the official. We'll say that's the official thing. Is shot means a shot attempt. It doesn't mean you made it or missed it until you give further context. So okay. Let's jump into the two biggest things that we were hearing about in the sports world this week. So the first one is Formula One. Okay, we've talked about it here and there on the podcast. Neither of us keep up with it, but it's big enough world news that it comes across our desks. So basically, I just learned this weekend. Okay, I kind of thought Formula One. I thought about Formula One and golf about the same for the past 30 years of my life, which I just kind of thought it's every competition is a one-off, the Masters in golf or such and such Grand Prix, the Vegas Grand Prix in Formula One that happened, a month ago or whatever. I just thought they were kind of one-offs and you just kind of are always doing them. And you maybe just based on the movies, you get a paycheck for, if you win one of varying amounts. But I guess in Formula One, in golf, we talked about there's kind of seasons in golf. There's 4 main events per year. it does kind of
Majors,
feel
yep,
like
Fort Major, yeah.
majors. It kind of does feel like golf is always ongoing. There's not really a beginning and end to the season necessarily.
It's become more and more like that, yes.
Uh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I don't want to get
It's
distracted with that. We'll come
right,
back to that
okay.
another time. But with Formula One, you have somewhere in the 20 to 24 races per season. It sounds like. So there is a beginning and an end to the season. I'm just going to run some brief beginner terms by you, just because it's been a while since we did that Formula One episode with our guests. There's 10 teams, which they just go by brand names. So like car brand names, Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, right? If you watch Formula One with Brad Pitt this year, you got a taste of that. And something that's in the movie that I still don't really understand in real life is that each team has 2 racers. So in each race,
Mhm.
there are 20
2
cars, 20
2
racers.
drivers, yep, 2 drivers, 2
Two,
cars, yep.
yeah, and they represent the same team, but it's an individual sport. I guess there is one trophy that like a team can win in a given season. I can't remember what it's called, compactors or conductors cup or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know that
construction
one.
cup. I can't remember what it was, but it sounds weird. But the main championship title only can go to one racer. So I'm not really sure. Like, it feels weird to me that you are on a team with someone, but also competing with them. That all weirds me out. Okay, point being is that McLaren usually is a leader, and they've been beaten the past 4 years in a row by Max Verstappen, who we've talked about. I can't
Mhm.
remember which team he raced for, but he was like the big guy. You never even hear his teammate's name. It's all about Max. Um, anyways, yesterday was the end of the season, and what I learned is that each race in a season, all 20 or so, you're gaining points. So basically the leaderboard is ongoing the whole season long. It's like if the Super Bowl lasted a year, essentially, right? So the championship is basically always ongoing. But last night was the last race, and an underdog. I saw a poll of he was in the top 3, but one of the McLaren racers had like a 12% of people thought he was going to win, basically, out of this massive poll that I saw. So he
Right.
was an underdog relatively. And anyways, his name is Lando Norris, and he's a young guy. He's been up and coming for 4 or 5 years, but under the shadow of Max Verstappen. And he made some risky moves to beat his own teammate and then beat Max Verstappen last night, which resulted in enough points for him to win. I think it was like a really narrow, like 2-point margin, I think is what I saw. Over the course of the season, and he took home the championship. So there you go. If you were like me and seeing memes and content about Lando and Max in Formula One, then that's what happened there. So it was a big upset, basically.
And they finished at Abu Dhabi. That's where the Grand Prix race was. So I was
Yeah,
looking at this. Yeah, pretty cool.
which I don't know if that's where it ended in the Formula One movie this summer with Brad Pitt, but I watched some clips like of him
It
getting
did
the
feel like it
trophy and
was in the Middle
celebrating.
East. Yeah, Middle East
Yeah,
somewhere. I forgot. Yeah.
but the
It might have
stage
been
looked
Abu Dhabi.
exactly like it did in the movie. So I
Really? That's
think it might have
cool.
ended in Abu Dhabi in the movie as well. But
Yeah.
um, correct me if I'm wrong. But
Too
anyways,
cool.
that's the Formula One update. I've taken it upon myself to take the reins there while Dad handles all the football and basketball and all that good stuff. So
Baseball, anything else but the
any
F1.
anything else,
No, the
I
F1
do.
and the
Yeah.
fighting. You're doing the fighting.
Oh yeah. A little fighting, little tennis when tennis comes up. Um, not that I care about any of these things or follow them, but again, they're big news sometimes. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I've been raised. I mean, I understand racing in a sense. It's not exactly the same, but I'm raised on NASCAR around here, so I understand team points, individual drivers, all that, right? So, I mean, I have
okay,
been
it's the
raised
same
right that
drill.
here in North Carolina. It's very similar in that area. It's just
Okay,
different racetracks, different type of racing, different vehicles, different, the open wheel versus closed wheel. I mean, you can't help but be, at least for me, be raised here and 65 years and not know some
have a little
racing.
taste of racing. Yeah,
So
yeah. I
that's
remember.
it.
I remember Jeff. I had like a Jeff Gordon lunchbox or something growing up. But yeah, I mean, I technically liked it as a kid, but I didn't really know what was going on.
Right.
Uh,
All right.
um.
Good job, though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say. Oh, thank you. I saw a video of it was a recap of yesterday's race, and there was I can't remember if it was Lando or who, but somebody passed somebody, and to me it just it just looked like, okay, I don't know, they drove looks like they're driving past them on the road on the way to the grocery store, is how thrilling it looked to me. And the announcer was like, that has to be the pass of the season, that was incredible. Like, he was just going crazy for it. And I told Mace, I was
you're
like,
killing any of our race fan
I know.
friend. I mean, this is you're killing them with that. I
I
do
don't
know
know
he's one
yeah.
skinny looking driver. I tell you what,
Lando.
Norris, there's nothing to that
Yeah,
boy.
he's got to have some serious neck muscles for those G forces,
Oh
apparently.
yeah,
But
he's just skinny.
yeah, but I told
Skinny.
Macy, I was like, if that's the most exciting pass of the year, I don't think I'll ever get into racing, because that didn't look like much to me. So, but the technology is super incredible, obviously, and the racers are cool and fun to follow. So I don't know, if you're into it, you're into it. But okay, let's get into the real hot red-blooded, or however that phrase goes, American sport of college football. The regular season ended. We had the conference championship matches this week. We won't talk too much about BYU, but Dad, I'll pass the mic to you. Take it away and tell us where we're at with
Yes.
the
So
as we go into the
we
playoffs.
owe it to our BYU fans, and I have to own up. So BYU started great, right? So BYU had a chance to get into CFP. I told you before, it was all in their hands. If they beat Texas Tech, they're in, right? And Texas Tech will be in. They would have had 2 Big 12 games. But BYU had to win, or maybe go to overtime and something crazy, but to get at-large bid. But they weren't going to get it. They had to win. So it was really cool. It was an unbelievable season that they had that kind of control that for their own destiny. However, and they came out and they had a beautiful drive, got up 7-0, and then game over. Right from that point on, and this is the best way I can describe it. Let's put it this way: I think Texas Tech has a real shot at winning the national championship. I really do.
Yeah,
Winning a whole college football playoff.
they were insane.
They have a professional level defense. And it's paid like a professional level defense. The defensive line itself, I think, or the front sevens are worth like $11 million a year is what they're making. So
crazy.
So that is crazy. So all I will say is my hat's off to Texas Tech, because after that first drive, they eventually hurt Bear Bachman. He didn't play well after that. They rolled his ankle, did a few things. But all I can say is it looked like real men. I mean, real men were playing defense from that point on with Texas Tech. We just I mean, it was shocking to me to see the difference of we look good. We snuck in and we snuck on that first drive was beautiful. Our defense held it pretty good. But then after that, their defense, it looked like I was looking at a varsity team and a JV offensive team.
Yeah.
That's what they did to us. And so my hats are off to them, but also love BYU. And we'll talk about this in a little bit. I call it the crybaby category of some of the teams that didn't get in, one particularly. And I got to do that because you got to be a little, cause trouble on this thing. And that's what we're out.
Yeah.
I got to do a little bit of that. So anyway, so that was the BYU and great season. We're going to go to a good bowl in Florida, and it looks like we're playing Georgia Tech, which is a good,
scary.
They're good. They're good. They're good ACC rep. But you know who they were supposed to play. The deal was in place.
It was supposed to be Notre Dame, right?
Correct. And they're leading the crybaby charge, right? So they're my crybabies because they wouldn't go play BYU.
Yeah, so they declined the official invitation to play in that bowl, right?
Yes, correct. And the AD has come out and said, yes. And and the ADs come out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and address this now. Then we'll get to the 12 teams that are playing and hit on that. But let's go ahead and talk about the ones who are on the out, right? Outs looking at.
Well,
they're the one.
Yeah, to set some context here for anybody who's coming on the outside of this, there's a panel. We talked about it last week, the CFP
12-person
committee.
panel, yep.
And as I titled the episode last week, the CFP committee is a joke. So that's what we established last week is Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi was on this at some point. I mean, some of these people don't even watch the games. Their assistants watch the game. Like, it's ridiculous, right? And so, anyways, point being
I
is
was given, remember we were talking about that was the extreme part of it, right? I think a lot of them do take it seriously pretty good, but we do think they could do better than
right.
who they have representing on the committee for sure.
So yeah, going into this past weekend with the championship matches and stuff, this committee had their eyes
championship games, yeah, yep,
games.
yep.
The committee had their eyes supposedly on all the games around the country, all the championship games, and they were going to ultimately make their final decision on who was going to be in the 12-team college football bracket for the championship. So
Yeah.
that's the context for what you're saying. So Notre Dame was kind of with BYU, weren't sure if they were going to get in.
Yeah,
or
but
not,
they
right?
had the highest chance. Them and Miami, right? They were the two that had the best chance to get in. And here's the thing: on the first game of the season, Miami beat Notre Dame, so they have that on them, right? Head-to-head competition. It was the very beginning of the season. Miami beat Notre Dame. They have neither one of them had great strength of schedule. So anyway, we don't want to get in if I get in the weeds, it'll go crazy. But the problem is the committee had been, you know how they do it every week. I told you, and they kept I've about come to the conclusion they shouldn't do it every week, but it's great theater. It's great TV, and it's building it up, and it's selling. It's about money. Where they got themselves in hot water with Notre Dame is they'd had Notre Dame ahead of Miami every one of the last 4, 3 or 4, weekly rankings, right? And so think about the common sense approach. If you didn't even know football, they had them ranked ahead of Miami nor Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't belong in a conference, so they've done this to themselves. They've gotten their butts. They've been bit. They bit their own butts. Basically, because they haven't really aligned with the conference, which really alters their strength of schedule, and they don't get a chance to prove themselves anymore or get another win, and because they don't play in any conference championship games or have an opportunity. Miami, because the ACC was so screwed up this year in its 2 divisions, you have Duke and Virginia duking it out for the ACC championship game, right? And Duke has got 5 losses. Virginia's ranked 17th. Virginia should have won. If they won, it would have made it a little cleaner, and they would have gotten into the CFP finals, being the ACC champs with only 2 losses or whatever. So they weren't great, but they would have gotten in. But what did Virginia do? They laid an egg, and Duke won the championship game. So Duke's not going to the CFP with 5 losses, and so that screwed everything. That's sending a whole nother thing. So Notre Dame is ticked at the ACC and the way they structured everything. They're ticked at the committee, and they're the crybabies because they wouldn't go play BYU, which would have been great, right? Think about theater. BYU, Notre Dame. BYU and Notre Dame were the top 2 independent schools for a long time, and they're also renowned religious institutions. Catholic Church and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's kind of a cool thing. I mean, I think
it would have been
really
like a holy war, a real holy war,
a national holy war that had been fun, right? I mean, I think they would have had the right spirit about it.
Yeah.
But what do? They cry so hard they wouldn't go play. They picked up their little ball and went home.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So we got Georgia Tech. So they win the award for number 1 crybaby. The other 2 teams that were go ahead.
Well, it's not really worth asking.
The other 2 teams. Go ahead.
Are they trying to preserve their players, or is there any real reason to not going?
So you make a great point. That's what I would lead into. I was going to lead in at the end of this, so I won't even do it now. But for some schools, that is some of that. Some of them have so many NFL prospects that they just, a lot of them don't play anymore. So we're going to talk about bowl games in a second at the close of it. So we'll come all the way back to that because it's a good question. But I want to wrap that up under a bigger umbrella about bowl games. Okay. Now, what has saved bowl games is now it's incorporated. Oh, by the way, so other 2 teams, again, they did it to themselves. Texas, they had a good shot at getting in, and they should have gotten in versus a couple of teams that are in. But it's the structure. It's the structure of this committee and their, quote, rules that they were going by. Texas and then BYU. BYU, a big, I mean, they had one of the best strengths of schedule. They had 2 losses. Oh, by the way, 2 losses, which is the same team who's ranked number 3 and has a bye in the CFP playoff.
Right.
So you're talking about, they did everything else great. They beat other top-ranked teams. They did everything. But I knew they weren't going to get
shafted.
in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they had a chance to do it themselves, right? They had a chance to win that game and get in. So I am not. When you do compare to a couple of the other teams that got in, you go, especially Miami or whatever. But they blew their chance, and they had 2 chances at Texas Tech and didn't make a showing on either one. I think how bad they lost the second time really cost them maybe a chance to squeeze in there, but Duke and screwed it all up and sent everything tumbling. And I'll explain that real quick. So those were the kind of the 3 main teams that were on the outside looking in. And I really think BYU probably had the best argument, even above Notre Dame, about getting in. But they don't have the juice, right? They don't have the juice like Notre Dame. They don't have the juice. And Notre Dame got left out. Miami. So that was the point I was making, was that Miami and Notre Dame didn't play this weekend. So they didn't do anything different about what they were. And remember that the committee had Notre Dame ahead of Miami the whole time. And then all of a sudden, when the final 12 came out, Miami jumped over Notre Dame, and Notre Dame got left out. And Miami got left in, got put in.
That is weird.
They kind of screwed themselves as a committee. They really should have had Miami ahead of Notre Dame the last several weeks. Yeah. If that's how they were feeling, right? Because neither one of them had another game to play, as it turned out.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So they kind of set themselves up for that.
Yeah, I wonder what bills got slipped under what table.
I'm not agreeing to any of that. I don't say that, but I don't know what happened, because Notre Dame is a darling, usually, of college football for money and for TV, for fans. You got more fans than anybody in the country, probably. Next to this, Southeastern Conference. But anyway, so what we've got left is, and here's what's bad. We're thankful we have 12 teams now, right? And the funny part is, when we only had 2 teams, we knew we were leaving a lot of good teams out. When we only have 4 teams in the championship, in the tournament, we're going, there's so many good teams. It's hard just to pick 4. But if we go to 12, we're going to have it, right? But you go to 12, and look how many are upset that they didn't make into 12, right? Yeah. So I don't know what the magic number is.
The room's never big enough.
But the 12 they got, here's what got screwed. And I'm not going to go into the details. I've heard them, and it's not worth it. But the 2 teams that are in, and this is really hurtful for me about BYU, 2 teams that are in, that snuck in because of screwed up ACC, James Madison,
which I don't even know what that is.
Small university in Virginia. And I like James Madison, but they do not belong. They're sending a high school team in to play the big boys.
Really?
And then the other team that took up a spot was Tulane.
We talked about that.
Which, you know who the quarterback is of Tulane.
Right,
he got the
BYU's
last laugh.
One.
Yep. He got into CFP, and BYU didn't. I think it's funny, and it's kind of crazy. But again, guess who they play? They play Ole Miss in the first round. Ole Miss, I think, beat them the first time they played this year. They've already played once this year. Ole Miss beat them 45-10. Ooh. So,
okay.
So those 2 teams got in because they're called whatever. They're the mid-American type, whatever. They're the mid-level, and they were, if they were ranked the highest. Anyway, if the ACC bottom line is, only one of those teams should have gotten in max, but ACC screwed up and gave up a spot because they didn't have a real winner, if you will, that was ranked high enough. Anyway, bottom line is, those 2 teams should not be in. If you're really picking the top 12 best teams in the country, college football, to duke it out, those 2 should not be in there, right? This is not basketball, March Madness, 68 teams.
Right, where anybody can
where
go
a miracle
yeah.
team can come in and win a couple of them, right? This is a whole different. You only got 12, and the first 4 of them get by, so there's only 4 games to start with, right? With 8
and
teams.
Like you said, some of these teams have like literally NFL level players and lineups.
Yes.
So
other than that, I guess I did read an article, and I appreciated this guy. he says, yes, it's imperfect, the committee and this tournament and the structure of the CFP. Yes, it's even ugly at times. Yes, it's all this. He said, but how did he closed it so well? Basically said, yes, and don't you love it? Meaning it creates such crazy people going nuts, fans and arguments, and it's great fodder for TV, for Fox Sports, ESPN, and said, don't you just love it? Meaning it does create this craziness, right? And everybody, it's what makes fandoms so awesome. Fans of Notre Dame just know they're going to go to bed for the rest of their lives. No, they got screwed to the wall and they're going to scream it from the top. And it's that intensity, right, of fans that makes this, like the guy said, but that's why we love it. Isn't it a beautiful thing, basically? So as a whole, the committee, if you really look reasonably at this, they did a good job. They got screwed because they had their own bylaws or rules and how those other two teams got in. And so that was where the mistake. They need to clean that up a little bit, and that just can't happen again when you have those two. But anyway, so what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about who got the buys and who are the best four, and then go real quick.
Yeah, really quick. Maybe let's just run down the list of who's in the playoffs, and next week, we'll really have something to talk about.
Well, and then these games, and this is, by the way, this is the good things. The bowl games, I told you before, the CFP playoffs are couched now in some of these the bowl games, and it makes those bowl games very important and very they're going to be prime time. It's going to be promoted like crazy, and so it saved, I think, and made much more exciting a lot of the bowl games. Right? They make it part of the CFP.
Okay.
But let's just go. We'll go through it, and I want to go through let's just go through the first four games, the first 8 teams, and then we'll tell who the bye is, who got the buys. Buys mean, right, they don't play the first weekend of the tournament.
Yeah, they get a break.
They're the best. They're the best of the best. But the first game, I already mentioned, James Madison's going to play Oregon.
Okay.
Now, I'll be stunned if Oregon doesn't just run all over them, but we'll see. And the sad part about it is, and here's a good example, I don't gamble, but we do bring it up because it is a big deal in the sports world now. Well, Oregon is by Vegas, and they're the ones who set most of these point spreads. They call them point spreads, the favors or the underdog. Oregon is a 21-point favorite. Now, you should never have an opening game to the championship that you got a team that's three touchdown.
Yeah.
Expected to win at minimum by that, right? They're 21-point favorites to win.
Yeah, I thought you were speaking some sort of gambling lingo with that 21-point favorite, but I see you're seeing that they're predicting that they'll win. Oregon will beat James Madison by at least 21 points.
Yes, and that 21 points is from the gambling stat line, right? Because when you bet, you got to anyway. That's what that number comes from. All right, real quick. So James Madison and Oregon, and the bottom line is whoever wins on that team will play Texas Tech the following week, and they're the 4th seed, and they got a bye, right? So. And I don't know if you've done. I would hope you need to go do a. It's not near as exciting as the Series 64 March Madness, but you can do the college football playoff. Where you pick all the winners.
Bracket challenge.
Yeah,
like
make sure
March
you go
Madness.
do a bracket challenge. I already did mine. I only did one, so you got to go do one, and then we'll see. We'll compare. But the next game is really good. It's a toss up. Alabama and Oklahoma. Right? That's going to be a heck of a game. And the winner, and this is pretty cool. I have to give you this. The number 1 seed of this whole tournament is now Indiana. Do you know why Indiana instead of Ohio State? Ohio State's been number 1 the whole season, basically.
I don't. Did they play Ohio State?
They did.
In the regular season? Okay.
No, they just played for the championship, the Big Ten championship.
Oh, the championship. Okay.
And Indiana beat them 13-10. Okay. Crazy. Anyway, so they're number 1. So winner will play Indiana, Oklahoma, Oklahoma. So that's going to be good. That's going to be a good matchup either way, first 2 games. Next will be Ole Miss and Tulane. Again, 17.5-point favorite by Ole Miss. I don't expect Tulane to get out of there. That'd be a miracle. And they play your team, Georgia. The winner will play Georgia.
I picked them at the beginning, to win.
Right. So Georgia should. Yeah, Ole Miss might give them a game, but Tulane would never. And then the last game on the opening weekend would be Miami against Texas A&M, and that'll be a good game. That'll be a good
Okay.
game. I think
See it.
I'm not going to tell you who I picked, but you got to do your bracket
Okay.
so I can tell you. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that next week. And
It
that
seems
winner
like
will play Ohio State. So those are the 12 teams. So Ohio
Okay.
State, Georgia, Indiana, and Texas Tech are the top 4 teams, and they got buys. They get to rest an extra week, get healthy an extra week, and that's a big deal when they start this championship. So
Yeah.
that's the CFP. We can talk more about it next week because the games, when do they start? Like pretty much December 19th and 20th. So we got 2 weeks, and then they'll start.
Okay.
They'll start the game. So
everybody at least gets 1 week off
yes,
since the championships.
an extra week off. Yes.
Okay.
And a team like Miami didn't play. There's a couple teams that didn't have to play in the championship.
Yeah,
like
so they're
Oregon.
Really getting geared up.
Oregon didn't have to. That's going to help them. So that's a whole nother complaint about the way the CFP is structured. But I don't want to go over that.
Yeah.
But I will say 2 things. Basically, the committee said they really, really weren't putting too much weight on the conference championship games because it kind of wasn't fair for the teams that didn't play, and they got to sit home. So, but I mean, obviously BYU got held to that standard pretty harshly, and so that's pretty interesting. So, and then except for the bowl games tied to the CFP, they're pretty well. Great deal of them they've lost their zing. They lost their importance. They can't even fill the stadiums, but they got these long-term TV. They can't put people in the stadiums. They give away tickets. A lot of these bowls give away free tickets, try to get somebody there. And then the camera crews try to keep it lower, like 6 rows, right? They don't want to show the empty stadiums, but they have these TV deals that run into many years. But the bowl, my belief, and I've listened to a few of the guys today, I'm a big Colin Cowherd fan and a few others because he's right a lot. But I had already had this thought a long time ago. I think the majority of the bowls are going to go by the wayside when the TV deals are up. I don't think they're going to have reinstatement. And I really think the way they've got the CFP working, and there's 12 teams now, and maybe it goes to 16 teams one day, I think they're going to get rid of the conference championship games. Because the conference championship games were put in a few years ago when you were trying to when there's only 2 teams or 4 teams, only 4 teams in the playoff. And the conference championship was helping conferences get one extra good look to get into those championships, to get into the original CFP. And now they really aren't serving any purpose anymore, right?
Interesting.
But again, you've got TV deals that they're going to have to play out, and they'll work out. So my belief is, I don't know how many, 2-3 years maybe, and college football has changed so rapidly. It's crazy the speed at which, just you and I talking in over a year, how fast things have changed with NIL and portal and all that, and coaches being hired mid-season and fired mid-season. The world has changed. I think bowls and conference championships are going to be gone. Only bowls I think would survive are the bowls that are tied to the CFP. So that's kind of my big thought and statement on
basically where a brand puts their name on one of the bracket games.
Right.
One of the playoff games.
And we already have bowl system that and some great bowl venues, right? Anyway, so it's that's for a whole nother time, another story, right? That's all I got on CFP other than I'm excited. I love watching more football, especially when it's win and go home. That's the best tournament of all sports when you play win and go home. Right. And so that's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm not sure what you're meaning by that.
Win and go home, meaning they all play. You win. I'm sorry. Lose and go home. Win and move forward. Right. Either you win. No, I was saying either you win or you go home. Either you win or you go home. Right. Yeah. Either you win or go home. So it's
eliminated.
It's one. It's an elimination game each time. So that is pretty darn exciting if you love sports and if you love football and college football. So it's a lot of fun.
The sudden death, or do or die factor definitely adds some excitement to it.
Definitely. Okay. And you're right. You had brought it up earlier, and I was going to put a bow on that about bowls. Why I say they're going to go away is because, yes, Cooper, all these other bowls, if you've got a team that's got several NFL potential, they're not playing. They got combines in just 3 months. They don't want to be injured. They got millions of dollars at stake. Who's going to go play in the Pinochle Podunk, Popsicle Bowl in Florida against some other team that's going to just, who cares, right? There's going to be 30 fans in the stadium. Who cares? And yet their whole future might depend on whether they get hurt or not. So that's the reason. I know the main reason, one of the big reasons I think bowls are about done.
Okay. And you're not too far off. The bowl BYU is going to play in is called the Pop-Tart Bowl, right?
Yeah, right. That's what. Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah.
So it sounds about as silly as what you said.
But it should be a good game, and BYU fans will be everywhere. Going down to Florida.
Yeah.
All those Utahns are going to head to the warm southern confines of Orlando, Florida for a good time.
You don't think you'll run down there?
I don't think I'll be going. I'm going to enjoy sitting there watching on my big screen in my room or over at your brother-in-law's house, all of us together. I'd much rather do that and have good food and family and
get some pigs in a blanket on your plate.
Yeah.
All
right. So
okay, well, let's wrap this up.
College football. I
got
one.
Football.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to know what is
the big game.
This week, of course, there's no college football. The NFL big game, and I'm so excited. It is Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. Patriots on a 10-game win streak. I hope it snows. Did you see the game where the Bills played yesterday in the snow against Cincinnati? Big snow coming down. Superman, had to do his work for Buffalo to come back and win that game. And I love Joe Burrow, the quarterback who's now healthy and back with Cincinnati. Doggone, he didn't about beat Buffalo yesterday. Buffalo's got to really work on their defense. Buffalo. The reason I'm pulling for Buffalo, do you remember why?
Is that who we have our $5 on or whatever? Or
yes, that's who I picked to win the whole ding, win the Super Bowl this year. So they hit a bad streak, and I was going, they might not make the playoffs, but now they're looking pretty good. They won some games, but if somehow Buffalo beats New England at New England, now, I don't think they will, but New England's had a long streak. They could sneak up on them. The Bills could sneak up on them this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's our big game that we'll talk about next week.
That's like, it's like a potential Super Bowl matchup that's going to be happening. That's pretty cool.
Well, no, the AF, the AF, not AF. I'm
they're in the same
they're in
conference
AFC,
or whatever.
Yeah. So they'd be conference championship.
Okay. So they wouldn't ever be a Super Bowl matchup. No. Okay. Silly me.
They could play out. They could play in the playoffs and one's going to have to get through. And right now, this could be the Bills' year, Allen's year, because Kansas City Chiefs going down in flames. It's a long shot. They probably won't make it. Baltimore Ravens. So these are top quarterbacks, top teams going down the toilet. They're not going to make the playoffs. Who else? There's a third team. Anyway, whatever the third AFC team. So the three big quarterbacks, three big teams are not even going to make the playoffs, it looks like. And Josh Allen might finally have his easiest path to the Super Bowl, because he not had his Mahomes has been his nemesis. He's the one who keeps bouncing them every year, but not this year. So, so now, interesting enough, the upstart New England Patriots, Patriots, have a shot at,
at it all.
Knocking the Bills out. Hopefully they won't. So, since I picked them, I got to ride with them the whole way, and hopefully they'll do it. But anyway, that'd be a great game.
Cool.
Next weekend.
That one's actually tempting. Maybe I'll even turn that one on.
There you go.
You would be so proud of me, by the way. I had a couple instances. Macy even witnessed them this week, where I was meeting new people and sports came up, and I was, one guy mentioned being a Patriots fan. I was like, oh, that's been tough for a few years, but they're looking good this year, right? And he got all excited. Yeah. Drake made this, and their streak is crazy. So I pretty quickly fell out of being able to say anything meaningful. But
but at that point, you don't have to let them go, because they'll go.
Yeah. Exactly. So had a couple moments like that this week that was pretty fun. So
well done.
Okay, well, with that was season 2, episode 16 of SportSense, where we give you sports news for sports noobs. And Dad, you did great this week. I guess let's sign off.
It was great. Thanks for doing all the work for me and just let me go on and go off about all this.
You did great. Go
All right,
off,
buddy.
Queen. That's what they say.
Yep. Well, I
All
don't know
right.
about that. You
Go
don't.
go off, Queen. You never heard that?
No,
All right.
I don't need that one. I don't think. But
All right.
all
Well,
right, buddy.
see you
Love you.
next week. Love
Yep.
ya.
Bye.
Sports Sense.